Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7. And are you tired of talking about the collab? Because I'm sure not. I decided to take a look at three characters released in two different games. That's Rem, Ram, and Emilia. The three we're very likely to get. We might not get more than that, but those three are pretty much solidified. And I feel like we'll get them. And if we don't, there will be hell to pay from the community, I'm assuming. So let's hope they got that right. Anyways, we have two games we're looking at today. One is Seven Deadly Sins. I chose this because I feel like it's semi-similar to E7 in terms of types of skills people have, right? Like the combat isn't directly related, but I feel like it follows the same sort of pattern. And we also are taking a look at Princess Connect, just because I didn't know they had a Rem Ram and Emelia in it, and I want to see what they do. So I don't know what any of these do ahead of time. Let's jump in and try to maybe get an idea of what they might do in E7. So first off, we're taking a look at Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross Ram. So she is a golly gee, I forget what a lot of these symbols are. Earth? Green? I think it's just green. We used to call them green. I don't know what that actually means. So we can see that she stuns, she cancels stances, which is kind of like a dispel. She ruptures, which I believe is double damage versus people with buffs, and she AoEs. And she's meant to be built as attack and defense by the looks of it. So let's take a look. Fula here, let's look at the 3-star one, since that's probably like more in line with what we'll get. Cancel stances on one enemy and inflicts damage equal to 250% of attack, then stuns for 2 turns. So if this was in E7, it would be dispel all buffs on the target, do X amount of damage, and stun for 2 turns. And this is one of her skills here, and obviously they don't really have a simple skill 1 to look at, so maybe it would be this one here where it dispels and stuns at a lower rate or something like that. We then look at You Should Eat It, and this one inflicts rupture damage equal to 250% attack on all enemies. So this is basically just a massive AoE, and we can see here, yeah, I was right, 2 times damage against buffed enemies. Okay, that's a pretty good AoE damage too. And then Don't Stand in Ram's Way. What this does is inflicts damage equal to 300% attack on all enemies and decreases their attack for 3 turns. Okay, so taking a look at, let's look at her passive and everything too. Increases unknown allies' basic stats by 20%. Okay, so this basically buffs, I don't know which ones count as unknown, but I'm guessing it is like the other characters. So buffs them by 20%, which is massive, honestly. Okay, so looking at Ram's kit here, looks like AoE with a semi-focus on dispelling buffs and stunning, from what we can see, and maybe even punishing people who have buffs on top of them. So let's take a look at Rem here. She is red. I'm pretty sure we called them red, green, and blue. I can't remember. It's been a while. She amplifies, which I don't really know what that does, increases attack. Damage dealt 30% per buff active on self. Okay. She prevents ultimate, she AoEs, and she shatters. I don't remember shatter either. So let's take a look here. So crushing hit is her skill 1, or would be potentially, which deals damage based on how many buffs they have, to 450% of attack on one enemy. Inflicts amplified damage. Okay, so it's basically a metric buttload of damage. Absolute ridiculous amount of damage that's then amplified on buffs. She's got Boisterous Dance of the Oni, and this one here inflicts damage equal to 325% attack on all enemies, decreases ultimate move damage by 50%, okay, and restricts ultimate move effects for 2 turns. So basically what this does is increases their skill cooldown here, and I don't know how E7 would handle this. It would be like a adamant shield type thing, like increases or decreases damage done. And the Night Parade of the Blue Oni, and this inflicts Shatter damage equal to 420% attack on all enemies, and yeah, that's just a lot of damage. Okay, so she's just an AoE pew-pewer, right? I still don't really know what Shatter does here. Oh, Shatter. Oh, ignores resistance. Okay, so this would be ignores defense, basically. So huge AoE ignores defense. Huge AoE, kind of like Judge Kisei's skill 3, I think it is. And then just single target massive DPS. And as for her passive here, when the hero uses skill or moves skill to rank up in skill gain, ultimate orb gauge increases attack related stats by 5% for 3 turns up to 5 times, kind of like Landy. There are 5 or more, recovers 30% of max HP. Okay, so you can kind of think of this like Landy, where she actually buffs her gauge to do her ultimate. She gains attack buffs, and then on top of that, she heals once it's full. So that seems pretty insane. Basically, she just like charges up and goes Super Saiyan, as is tradition, I guess. And let's take a look at Emilia here. So Emilia is freeze, deplete ultimate, AoE, and secret technique. She is also water or blue. So like, I guess earth, fire, ice is what we can assume here. Puck, please. So Puck, please. Skill 1 freezes an enemy for 1 turn on the basic, so like maybe a stun for 1 turn. As for the Super Saiyan version, increases damage equal to 360% of attack, and freezes for 2 turns. When the freeze is removed by using skills, ultimate move or after turns have passed, inflict damage. Okay, so it shatters them basically. So after their freeze disappears, let's say you stun them, after the stun is removed, whether you dispel it or it just goes away. Think of it like an unstable affliction sort of thing, where after it's gone, they just take 40% of their remaining HP. That seems pretty nuts. Alhuma here. AoE damage to all enemies, depletes 2 ultimate move gauge orbs at the end of the enemy's turns for 2 turns. So this is basically another one of those AoE skill cooldown increase, or silence maybe would be another way of saying that. And secret technique, 20% additional damage per hero skill. So does this stack up? I don't really understand this. It's been a long time since I've played SDS. Either way, it attacks all enemies with a tribute advantage. Okay, this is like a skill 3 that does a ton of damage, stacks up every time they use a hero skill, question mark, and then ignores Ellie at the end of it. So that seems pretty sweet as well. As for her passive, when the hero receives attacks from the same enemy 2 or more times during the enemy's turn, cleanse all debuffs from allies and freeze the enemy for 2 turns. Okay, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. So when she gets hit twice, she basically stuns the enemy. I feel like they would want to be thematically correct with this and add like freeze to the game or something like that. Like maybe they introduce freeze to the game with Emilia, because we don't have that, right? It's just stun. Okay, let's take a look at Princess Connect. Emilia here. Do they show her skills? Wow. Cards? Okay, so let's just take a look at their Union Burst, I guess. So Promise Flower Garden from Emilia. You can actually see the animation here. Super cool. Massive HP recovery for the ally with the lowest percentage HP, and then increases physical defense, magical defense for all allies. That's pretty good for PC, I think, but obviously we'd have to do a lot more in E7. As for Ram here, what does she have? Let's look at her cards. I love how we can see the animations in this. This is super cute. So it deals magic damage to all enemies and binds them as well. Okay, I love the animations. So awesome. And Rem here, what does she do? She's super cute. And then bashes them. Okay. So inflicts medium damage to all enemies with range to the front. If the target is immobilized, damage is increased. Okay. Okay, so I think we learned some things here, right? Like, it definitely looks like both Rem and Ram are semi-focused on DPS, with Ram being closer to, like, a support. And Emilia looks like a crowd control DPS style support as well, perhaps. A crowd control healer or something like that too. Really interesting to look at. Let me know if you enjoyed this, because this was completely like a wing it video. So yeah, I really had fun doing this. Just a little refresher. And if there are any other games that have collabed with ReZero you think fit the E7 style, let me know there too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.